sliding anyway. You call it play call. Their defense. So the combo of both is
the big deal. It's not close in any population. 60 miles per year is 45 miles.
No.
It's hard to keep up with like that thing. Two extras. Yeah, we'll look him back to that.
Oh, yeah.
I think they had a second, of course. Preston tried to bring back a race or do something else.
Just holding up your phone after a while, you know, how hard to stabilize it when you hold it up. It's a lot of
There was some kind of shortage on the computer parts. Now it's just semi-illuminated vehicle. They move in and out very quick. I went
All right, buddy. How y'all doing? Thanks for coming out.
Just open it up for questions for Coach. Or if you have a question, raise your hand. Get the mics.
Coach C.D. Kaplan, Card Chronicle. Have you been able to work with this new, essentially new squad long enough to develop what your defensive philosophy might be, and if so, how might that look schematically?
Yeah, that's a great question. First of all, it's pretty cool. Afternoon in June to have a press conference, look around, have a packed room like this. The passion for Louisville basketball never ceases to amaze me. So kudos to Cardinal Nation and to you guys for coming out. Love that question. When you ask, have I been around my guys to know enough of what our defensive identity is going to look like? We had a pretty good idea going in of what we do and how we do it defensively. Obviously, when we recruit, we take those things into consideration, who are the type of players that kind of fit who we play. I think I might have been asked this at the press conference, the introductory press conference, I'm not sure. We are predominantly, I would say, 99.9% a half-court man-to-man team. I think it's an interesting dichotomy that we do play fast on the offensive end. There's a lot of possessions in our game. We tilt the floor. But our philosophy in the half-court is more of a half-court man-to-man team. I compare us schematically a lot to Alabama in that regard. Both have a lot of possessions in their game. They push the ball offensively, but hang their hat on a tough, tenacious, nasty half-court man-to-man defense.
Coach, how did the Bahamas thing come about? What do you hope to get out of it? Can I take us through that?
Yeah. First of all, tip of the cap to our administration for making this happen in a very, very short turnaround, because it's not something that was planned on. Again, that's the commitment of basketball being good around here and the things that it takes for basketball to be good, the wind to be at our back, and with a completely new roster, signing 13 players in 2.5 months, coming from parts all over, you're limited in a lot of ways in terms of the NCAA rules in the amount of time you can be on the floor with your players per week. I'm sure all you guys are aware of this, maybe not the specifics, but 4 hours is the time that you're allowed to spend on basketball. That includes film, that includes anything on the floor. Obviously, you have additional time for other things like strength and conditioning, the total number of hours is 8. When you go on a foreign trip, the NCAA allows you, on top of those 4 hours that you have throughout the week, to have 10 full practice days, the type of practice days that you would have throughout the course of the season, where there aren't those type of limitations. So it's great. It really allows us to speed up kind of the growth curve of this team, both implementing what we do, how we do it, our system, our terminology, teaching guys how we practice, the philosophy being that, when we get to the end of those 10 practices, we get a great head start. So when we get back together, when it really, really starts ramping up and it counts for real, when practice starts at the end of September and the beginning of October, we could look back to these 10 practices and go, man, we're way farther ahead than we should have been. So that was the main point of it. Obviously, these foreign tours, there's a cultural aspect to it as well, where you get to leave the country, go somewhere else. That's going to be cool. The other part of it is just the team building, the team chemistry, the camaraderie, the rapport, through getting to spend more time together on the floor, and then, obviously going on a trip together and being at a pretty darn cool hotel and resort for a while, getting to know each other, putting some suntan lotion on, swimming, doing a little wave surfing or whatever the crap you call it, potty surfing. So we're going to have a good time as well. So I think we'll be further along in terms of our basketball system, and we'll be further along in terms of, what we call the power of the unit.
We'll talk about Pat. Sorry, thank you. Just thinking back to the first few weeks of summer workouts. Is there a moment that sticks out to you where you kind of seen these guys, show off and compete the hardest? Like, has there been a moment that sticks out where you think about?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of a moment where I thought they competed the hardest, I think that's been something that I've been, I don't want to say pleasantly surprised or pleased with, because I expect it. I mean, I think these guys going hard as crap every day. They're working hard. That's one of the things we hang our hat on, is competing, right? And we compete in June, we compete in July, we compete in the preseason, we compete in practice in January and February. So that is always at the kind of center of what we do. Is there one moment? Is there one loose ball? Is there one charge? Is there one crash the glass for an offensive rebound and a tip and a putback? I don't know if I could pick one right now, but the dudes have been getting after it and they're playing hard, competing.
Talk about team camaraderie and bringing this group together. It's a group of veterans, obviously, except for one really talented freshman. In these early stages, are you seeing maybe a couple guys step to the forefront as far as from a leadership perspective?
It's a good question. I mean, with an older group, savvy veteran guys, and they've been successful where they've been, and they come from good programs and good coaches, and they all, I would say, they lead in their own ways. Some guys are a little bit more vocal. Javon Hadley, as a for instance. I'm picking him out, but because, you hear his voice a lot. He's, and then there's other guys that lead more by, what they do in their example. They're guys that are in the gym early, that are in there late, how they go about their business. So I like to think we have a team full of guys that lead, and that lead in different ways. I mean, even the young dudes, Kanai, he's been awesome since he's been here. He was away last year at the high school he went to, so he's a little bit used to being away, being in a dorm, living away from mom and dad. He goes about his business like a vet. James Scott, I've talked about him ad nauseum, just the advanced basketball mind that he has and the advanced approach to work. So I'm proud of even those young guys, not just the old guys, in terms of how they're going about stuff.
When you guys ask a question, make sure you identify yourself so coach can put a name to a face. So go ahead, Jeff.
Jeff Lighty here. Coach, is there anybody that's standing out? I know you had limited practice, but is there anybody that's standing out so far after recruiting 13 new guys?
That's hard to say. I can't sit here on June 25th and go, man, this guy. Everybody's shown flashes. Listen, the June part of this, and I've been doing this a long time. My staff, it drives them nuts. I always say this. I've been doing this a long time. I think I'm a dinosaur now. When you get to, I don't know what point in your career where you're considered a dinosaur. I see some of these young coaches, and I'm starting to feel like an old coach. Certain social media apps they're on and crap like that. I'm like, holy man. But there's been times where everybody has done some really good things. And June is it's a breakdown period, right? You guys have heard it, and some of you have written articles on it, just our approach to strength and conditioning at the beginning when guys come in. And we talk about competing and we talk about toughness, two things that we take pride in. We think part of that is our approach to the weight room and strength and conditioning and being the toughest, most competitive team on the floor every time we take the floor. That's our goal, is part of it in there. And they get broken down. They get beat up a little bit. So kind of build it slowly in terms of what we do on the floor. First couple of weeks, it's more small group skill development type things where we're implementing our system that way. And then toward the end of every week, and then a little bit more as we've gotten to the end of it, we've done a little bit more team stuff. But there's been a lot of guys that have been highlights on different days.
Pat Kelsey Brown with the Courier Journal. Before NIL was approved, some of the criticisms and concerns from coaches was that it's going to divide the locker room. It's going to fester jealousy, that kind of stuff in the locker room. How do you what's your philosophy in terms of trying to mitigate that, knowing that, you have this NIL, different guys are getting different money necessarily in the NIL?
Yeah, I mean, our three things: relentless effort, competitive excellence, and the power of the unit. I've said that a lot. Maybe it gets boring in interviews and press conferences, but we believe it in so much. The power of the unit is the uncommon commitment to the guy next to you. In this new age, with that being a dynamic and being a factor in every locker room around the country, I think the teams that have the maturity, the wherewithal to be professionals and go about their business every day, regardless of those things, and be committed to the good of the whole and to love your teammates, right? And that's a nonstop, everyday dynamic and everyday process that we're selling our culture and selling the commitment to the guy next to you. Listen, you walk down any business in America down the hallway and you look into that office, that office, that office, that office, everybody makes different amounts of money, right? And it shouldn't be the type where you're going and comparing. That's just not the world. This is more grown-up stuff now. And for an enterprise to reach its potential, everybody has to be committed to winning and be committed to the ultimate goal of the team being successful. And that's just part of the dynamic every day of what we do, what we sell to our team.
Eric Crawford, WDRB. Pat, there's so much data now when you're out recruiting that from a basketball standpoint, you get out there and look at these guys, you have a chance to kind of compare what they are on the court to what you thought they would be on film and with the data. Does this team look the way that you hoped it would look from that standpoint? I know there's no data with personality.
Yeah, I mentioned I've been doing this a long time. I'm a dinosaur. You don't evaluate in June. You don't, especially in this new world. I mean, yes, what we saw on tape, we see in person. I know the caliber of people and players that we have, but at least I can't, and especially in this new world where you have transfers and new players coming in. A lot of times there's a lot of parts. This time, 13. It's a completely new team, and everything being new, this environment, this building, the strength and conditioning, the terminology, the system, new teammates, new relationships, not just here, everywhere, heads are spinning, So what a big emphasis on us is these first several weeks is our process, is how we go about our daily business. The attention to detail and the excellence in the weight room every day and each repetition in the thing. When we go to practice, the energy we have to bring, the attention to detail. This is how we do it. This is our process. This is our process. And if you can be very, very consistent with that, I believe, throughout the course of not just a few summer weeks, not just 2 summer months, not just 3 or 4 months, but if you can stay consistent till the final buzzer sounds, good things happen. The outcome takes care of itself. And through adversity, through the ups and downs of a season. So I'll be able to let you know, heck, not even at the end of the summer, maybe not even after the Bahamas. There's always that time when it's like, here we go. It's clicking. I'm feeling it, And some teams, it happens like that. Some teams take a little bit longer. My team at Charleston 2 years ago, with a lot of new faces, man, and it just clicked sooner. And shoot, we won 1 million games out of the box and ended up winning 31 games. Last year, we stunk early. We stunk. And You know, the world is, the ceiling's falling. What the heck? They were top 25 last year, and we went up to this deal at the Naval Academy, and we stunk. Consistent. We ended up winning 1 million straight. So it's, I might be able to tell you in 3.5 weeks. I might be able to tell you in 3.5 months. But, you know, staying focused on that process, that's boring as crap to say, and you guys roll your eyes, but that's what we do.
Coach Corey here. How important to you has it been to have a guy like Peyton Siva help revitalize a program?
I mean, Peyton Siva in any organization makes them better. I mean, in our program, yes, he makes us better. Peyton Siva's in the law firm down the street, the car dealership, the restaurant, the school. What? Car dealership? Kelsey Chevrolet from our family to yours. I always throw that in there. He's just a world-class dude, man. I mean, he's obviously basketball, brilliant, accomplished, national champion, all the stuff that we say all the time. And but he's just a world-class dude. He just lights up a room. He brings energy. I love guys that go about their daily business with a smile on their face. Peyton feels blessed to be in this building and back in this program, but he feels blessed to be walking around with his kids in the community. But yes, Peyton makes us better, and I love having him.
Matt McGavick, Sports Illustrated. Pat, going back to the roster construction front, the majority of the players either are coming from teams who went to the NCAA tournament or have some sort of postseason type accolade, like Conference Player of the Year, Tournament Player of the Year, so on and so forth. Was that something you sort of took into account when putting together the roster in an attempt to maybe like lay the foundation for the culture you're wanting to establish here?
I mean, it's a factor. When we look into things when we decide who we're going to recruit, who we're going to go after, they win. We take that into consideration. I mean, it's not always you could get a really good player that was just in a bad situation that didn't win where he was at, but you know, you like, that's definitely something that you consider. Guys come from winning programs for sure.
Mr. Tony, KY Sports TV. I'm curious about what you've seen out of the guys so far as who's going to be the dogs on your roster, and what is your approach to putting together your starting five?
Who the dogs? I mean, hopefully got a bunch of them. You know, it's like picking out who stood out. You know, picking out who's the dog. I mean, dogs are competitors. Dogs are winners. Dogs are guys that don't back down, that grit their teeth, that bow their neck, that I like to think we got a bunch of them. In terms of my approach to deciding our starting lineup, compete. There's nobody in that locker room that was promised anything in recruiting, and there's nobody in that locker room that's been promised anything to this point. I really cannot have a starting lineup conversation until probably the day before the first game. You might say, oh, this is the guys that started in the Bahamas. Well, those are the guys that were the most productive in practice, right, up to that point. Maybe not. But there's a lot that goes into that.
Yeah, Rick Bozich, WDRB. When you have 13 guys, I mean, you're starting, as you said, completely over. What's the most challenging thing to establish, first of all, to get them to buy in?
The most challenging thing to get them to buy. I don't think there's a big challenge to create buy-in. We got a lot of guys that are, I'd say all of them, they're leaning forward, they're eager, they're receptive. You know, because it could be easy for somebody that's been somewhere for a long time, that's caught in their ways, that, you know, this is the way I've done it. They've been awesome. They've been completely open, accepting to what we do and how we do it, which has been awesome. I don't know if this is the most challenging thing, but terminology. Because in basketball, I mean, there's a universal basketball language, but different programs call different actions different things, and different, you know, so sometimes that takes a little bit of getting used to. And then just not only, I mean, I feel like our guys are doing an unbelievable job of bonding off the court, right? I mean, you just, whether we do team functions, just them hanging around, there seems like there's a great rapport. But then there's a rapport that has to be built over time on the floor. You know, especially guys that have been in a certain program for a long time and kind of know when this guy yings, I yang, and when he zigs, I zag. And part of that is a process that will take some time as we go through the rest of the summer and into the preseason.
Last 4 questions, guys. Guys, you have mics. Tim, then Ken.
Tim Sullivan, Parts Unknown. 2 questions. One, this basketball program is dependent on for revenue in this athletic department, and you as a coach are also kind of a public figure, more than kind of. Are you getting spread too thin at all in the demands of trying to be that public personality? And the second question is, what's the story on the tattoo?
I'm trying to think which one I want to answer first. The first part of the question is, are you getting spread too thin? I've said this, I think at my press conference, I can't remember, but somebody told me in business a long time ago that you don't have to be the smartest one in the room, but it's helpful and you better own the smartest room. I got a smart room. I got unbelievable support staff around me, right? You talk about fundraising, if you mention that, but meeting people and cultivating relationships, people that we have in this department that do that and make it conducive for me within my schedule. Like, you have to meet with this person. Boom, that person's in my office this morning at 9 a.m. I can't tell you who it is. And man, I enjoy that. I love building relationships with people and interacting with people. It's one of the things I'm passionate about. But they do a great job of, they're like point guards, man. They set the table for me. They're great assist guys. And it's important for me, like all basketball players do, when somebody throws you a great assist, you got to point to the passer, and that's what I'm doing right now. I'm acknowledging the help that I have, the people that, man, Steph, who's my executive assistant, unbelievable. You see Lottie back there, you see Rocco, you see, so no, I think the support that I have and the way that people look out for me and value my time and know what the most important things that I have to do and then lead me in that direction, and I trust them implicitly. It's allowed me to focus on right now what's most important, and it's those young men over there in that locker room. But trust me, man, I know there's 1,000 plates that I have to spin. I know the significance and the importance of basketball being successful at this university and how that impacts the rest of the city. I'm well aware of that. But I think the people that are in place to help me has made that job much, much easier. Oh, the tattoo. I mean, it was late in life. My daughter, like, I walked in, she was like, "Who are you? Like, what in the heck has happened?" She was crying. I at Winthrop a couple years ago, I told the guys, if we go to the tournament, I'll get a tattoo, and if we go to the Sweet 16 this year, I think it was 21. It was the year we came here and played in the bubble thing with DJ Burns was on our team and Chandler Baldwin. We had a really, really good team. And I said, if we go to the Sweet 16, I'm getting a sleeve all the way down here. That's what I told him. And we went to the tournament, so I got it. We didn't go to the Sweet 16, so here's it at. So I don't know what it's going to take at Louisville for me to get the sleeve. Josh Hurd right now is crapping his pants hearing me say that. So we'll jump off that bridge when we cross it.
Kent Taylor, WLKY. You mentioned, you talked about some of the outside things you have to do. Earlier this week, you sent out a video to season ticket holders.
Yeah, man, I'm glad you mentioned that.
Renewals are due here coming up on July 1st. Make the case
July
for people
1st, like, you know, it's, you know, people's hard-earned dollar or hard-earned, you know, and they have a lot of choices in today's day and age. I mean, obviously in this town, I know how important basketball is, and I know the passion that people have for it, and I know it's been a little bit of a tough time here recently. But, you know, I would passionately convey to the people of this town to give us a chance and give this team a chance. Can't make promises in life because you can't always, but the thing I'm going to tell you is it's going to be a team you're going to be proud of. So, yeah, July 1st, a big, big day. People that are listening out there, you know, give Louisville basketball a chance again. And then, you know, the other thing is, you mentioned the NIL world. how important, right, NIL is, and the 502 circle and the guys over there, man, they work their tails off. And for our fan base that's listening out there, y'all know how important that is. And we ask people to step up, and y'all have stepped up. And we need you to continue to. People say all the time, like, I love Louisville basketball. I think the thing that we're asking you to do in the 502 circle and the NIL space is to show your love, right? And everybody's in different situations, depending on what your financial situation is. But contributing to that is a big, big deal. That's the lifeblood of collegiate basketball. And like I said, those guys are working their butts off, and we're very, very lucky to have them here in Louisville as a part of what we're building. So thank you for those that have, and I'd ask you guys to continue to consider being a part of that initiative.
Yeah, Brooke Sultan again from the CJ. Did I cut someone off? I'm sorry, Kendrick.
What did we say before? It was 22,000 people. Everybody gave $100. That's $2.2 million. I'm not the smartest guy in the world, but not that anyway.
So when we spoke last, I guess just several weeks ago, you mentioned that Michael Cassidy has a bunch of he has just books upon books of like your offensive system. I'm just wondering how much do you plan to get those installed, or do you have an expectation for just how far along?
Great question. That's an awesome question. No, the installation process takes a while, and it evolves throughout the course of the season. The guts and the core of what we do and how we play offensively is based on more randomness. We call it the beauties in the randomness and our flow and how we play after makes and after misses and after an action breaks down. And there is a method to that madness as well. But obviously your ability to execute set plays and getting certain players certain shots at different parts of the floor at different parts of the game is very important, and that's a process that kind of evolves. We've began to introduce some of those things, kind of the shapes we play out in some of our set plays. Mike's really, my staff's really, really good, and I value those guys tremendously. They do an unbelievable job in the areas they're responsible for, and I think one of the things that we've done a good job of, and Mike's really good at this, is he takes the complicated and makes it simple. So in his mind, in my mind, in terms of the offensive coordinator, for instance, it could be complicated in his mind, but the way that maybe you organize, you structure, you label, you name your terminology, it simplifies it for the players. That might not make a lot of sense, but sometimes it takes a ton of time, like hours and hours and hours and hours, to come up with a method to simplify it for the guys, and I think we've done a good job of that over the years. We've started to do some of that the last couple practices. The guys have been great. They have fun with it. We talk about GBT all the time. I might have said this before. I hate when I say stuff twice, but Joe Madden, who's the I forget who he's coaching now, but he used to be the coach of the Cubs when he used to kick the Reds' butt, and he used to say GBT, great baseball talk. He loves great baseball talk. He loves guys talking X's and O's in the dugout, in the hotels, on the airplanes, and we value GBT here. We have a veteran group that loves to talk hoop.
Coach Kendrick Haskins from WAVE. When you have a team full of new guys like that, how much does it help that you brought a couple of guys over with you from Charleston and know what to expect from practices, know what your expectations are,
so,
and relay that?
Yeah, Rain Smith, James Scott, Kobe Rogers are three guys that obviously are ahead of the curve in terms of all that because they know it all already. And that's been great. It's been awesome to have those guys. First of all, they're winning players. They're championship players. They helped us do a lot at Charleston. They're great communicators. They're great teammates. So in not a way like I'm a know-it-all, I know what I'm talking about, and you don't. They do a good job in their own way of, I know Coach Kelsey seems a little crazy right now. This is what he means by that. You know what I mean? One of those deals. So, no, it's awesome to have some of those guys that kind of know our deal.
Thanks.
All right. Thank y'all. Hey. Oh, yeah. Picture? Yeah. Just smile. Act like you like me. Thank you.
Good luck to you.
Appreciate it.
I wonder if that's the line Kent Taylor used to play for people. I guess you like it.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Appreciate it. Don't beat me up, man. Sorry. I've seen the look in your eyes. You got insurance on that, Stanley?
It was a gift, so not much.
I mean, obviously, I definitely wasn't sure.
Kelsey was a little inside.
Oh, okay.
Nothing but good things.
Good things?
Good things. All good things.
That's always somebody to bad.
Oh, yeah.
He got kicked out of mail. He's in the Fern Creek Hall of Fame, though. He's going to tell you that in about 5 seconds. Way bigger than that. I won good. Just wait till you get to the pearly gates. You'll be able to come in.
which Hall of Fame is it? I never told us. No, I said, which Hall of Fame? You didn't tell us, Ken. He said we had to ask you.
Kendrick, I sent that to Walls. Go figure.
Ray Smith, Chucky Hepburn, John Hep. Where do you need? This way.
Thank you guys, appreciate it.
Questions for the guys?
Guys, Jeff Lightsey here. It's a new place. You're here to play basketball, but it's a new place. What's it been like, here in Louisville, playing for the Cards, playing for Coach Kelsey so far?
What's up, everybody? It's Javon Hadley. It's been amazing. It's just a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, especially because a lot of us only have 1 year here. The energy has been, one of a kind. I've played 4 years in college, and this type of energy I haven't experienced yet. So I'm grateful for this energy, and I'm grateful to, be here with everybody, my teammates, coaches, and just everybody as well. Like, the whole city of Louisville is up right now. I'm excited for it, too.
Javon, what was it like, Kent Taylor, WLKY, what was it like to watch the draft last night? Were you watching? You see, your couple former teammates picked. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah. It was cool to see them get picked for sure. I'm always gonna clap for the next guy forever, because those are my guys, those are my teammates. So congratulations to them. But it's a like surreal moment, because I was playing with them the whole season, and then they got drafted. So it's cool to know some people in the draft, and hopefully be there next year for sure.
Chucky, why Louisville for you? I mean, I'm sure a lot of people recruited you. What were some of the things that stood out?
Yeah, the very first time I got on the phone with Coach Kelsey, he was just an energetic guy. Before I even got on the phone with him, I had just been through his Instagram, just searching. That's the type of player, type of coach you want to go play for, and it just brings a very energetic character to the team, and it just always brings a mood, and that's what you love to see from a player.
Rain, just someone that played for Coach Kelsey, what's it been like, having some of your teammates from Charleston, but also helping everybody get adjusted to what Coach Kelsey's like, and the practice schedule and all that stuff?
So obviously I've been with the staff for 3 years, and with Kobe and James coming along from Charleston as well, I guess it's on us to kind of lead more vocally and get the guys to kind of understand what Coach Kelsey and the rest of the staff expect, and kind of their personalities, because Coach Kelsey is a different kind of guy, real quirky and everything like that. So you kind of get the guys to just kind of figure that out and kind of lead from a vocal standpoint, from the standard and the culture. It's a very mature team, I think. Most of us have 1 year left, and you kind of get this vibe that kind of everyone's in it to win, and that's the most important thing. And we've all got 1 year, so this is it for all of us, and we want to make a run in the NCAA tournament, and that's kind of the goal in mind throughout every workout and just every day.
Hey guys, Brooks Holton. Just wondering, Pat was just left, and he was saying that, you guys have already started, trying to put in some of your offensive and defensive system. Just wondering, how's that been going for, both, two people who are, this is your first time playing for Pat, and then Rain, do you see any differences so far? And, some of the things you're trying to do now just based on, some of the pieces that you have on this team here?
Yeah, I would say the offense, in terms of the offense, I would say it's pretty similar to Colorado's in terms of just a bunch of versatile guys, very similar in that sense, playing through the trailer. So I know a little bit about the offense already, so I'm already a little bit used to that. So that puts me, I guess I would say, in that leadership role where I can help everybody else with that as well. And defense, I mean, we're going to be a problem off rip, I'm already knowing, and just, in practice it shows. We have a really, really, really talented team, and we have length. We're versatile. We're athletic. We have a little bit of everything. So I mean, when we start clicking, in a couple of weeks, it's going to be a problem for anybody that we play for sure.
It's a whole new system for me, but I feel like I'm getting adjusted to it pretty well, and it took a couple of days for me to kind of get it down, but. I think things are starting to finally click for me, and once I get settled in and comfortable in this offense, this whole team's going to be causing trouble.
Yeah, comparing from previous years with Coach, I think a lot of the principles stay the same. We'll keep that consistent, but kind of the big difference is we got so many guys that can play different positions, so it gives us kind of different looks, and I think that's kind of been the biggest difference from years in the past is just seeing kind of more guys playing different positions and just being more versatile all around.
Guys, kind of take me through your first reaction when you heard, you're going to the Bahamas in November, so now you're going again here at the end of the month, and what you hope to get out of that trip, whether the competition, the team building, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I would say I'm sure we're all pretty excited to go to the Bahamas, not only once but twice. But in terms of basketball, we're beyond excited to test ourselves a little bit before the season starts and before everything starts to ramp up a little bit. So it'll be fun to take that trip with the guys and get closer with each other. Especially that's chemistry is a big thing, no matter what team you're on. So I feel like just going to the Bahamas and, playing those games, hanging out with each other, just experiencing that trip as a whole will kind of just put us, steps ahead because we need that. We're a whole new team, whole new staff. It'll be super good for us for sure.
Matt McGavick, Sports Illustrated. Rain, a couple questions. When you entered the portal, did you kind of have it in your mind that you were just going to follow Pat Kelsey wherever he went, or did you kind of give it a couple days to think? And two, what was it like performing in Japan this past weekend for the Australian national team?
Yeah, so first it was definitely an interest that I'd want to follow, and obviously it takes a couple of days to kind of figure everything out and the whole process and what makes the most sense. But at the end of the day, that's the staff that kind of trusted me coming out of Australia when I was 17, 18. So, and I have a lot of trust in Coach Kelsey and the rest of the staff. So following them ended up kind of being pretty easy. And the Japan trip, it's a great honor to represent your country in any format. So it was a great trip and a really good experience. Kind of playing for your country is kind of no better feeling.
Tim Sullivan. Rain, you mentioned that Coach is a little quirky. I wonder if you could give us an example that we don't see, from practice, and what would you warn your teammates about?
I think most people have seen the shoe video that goes on social media. So a lot of stuff like that. There's times when I've kind of seen him just when he's telling guys to where to be on the court. During like a set play, he'll kind of run down and lay down and point to the exact spot he wants you to catch it. So that's kind of stuff like that's funny. And he just brings so much energy and he's just so passionate about it, like every single day. And that's the thing. It's like there's not one day I've been with him for 3 years that he hasn't brought energy. So kind of expecting that, because there's days that you don't feel like bringing energy, you're a little tired and whatever, but it's like with him it just doesn't stop, and that's you kind of feel that too, and kind of get the guys to realize that it's literally every single day.
Tom Lane from WDRB TV. What did you guys, for any of you, what did you know about the history of Louisville basketball, and have you learned much since you've been here about it?
Yeah, I'm still learning new stuff, but I had a older kind of like a role model growing up, Okoye Gal. He played here years ago, and he's from Omaha, Nebraska. But my best friend used to be over at my best friend's house all the time. So I always idolized him growing up, and so he still lives down here. He's kind of taking me under his wing. Got my hair cut through him, and not from him, but one of his barbers. His hairline's receding, so that would never happen. But yeah, he's just kind of taking me under his wing, kind of showing me around a little bit and kind of letting me get comfortable here in the city of Louisville. Love the city of Louisville. It means a lot to. I know the basketball means a lot to the city, and that we're going to try our best to bring this back around.
Ken Taylor to be okay. Right, Rain, you're known as a great 3-point shooter. What's like a normal drill that you do, and what's say you shoot 100 shots? What's the most you've hit? Is there something that stands out a day when you almost didn't miss?
Probably the main drill we do is 5-minute threes, so it's just five ball, 1 rebounder. My best score percentage-wise is 79-82. And I've had a few like 81, 86, and like 81, 88. They're probably my best scores out of that drill that we kind of do consistently. So.
I'm CL Brown with the Courier Journal. This is for anybody who really wants to talk about it. I'm kind of looking into NIL, and I wanted to get you all's perspective of how much you feel like it's changed the game, and how would you respond to a skeptic who says that it's changed college basketball for the worse?
I would just say the 502 circle. I mean, just everybody coming in, especially new recruits. It's one of a kind. Like I said, the city of Louisville, the owners, just everybody that surrounds the whole 502 circle has been nothing but great and generous to all of us, and we're extremely grateful for that. There's going to be people that are think bad about NIL and athletes shouldn't get paid, athletes this and that, but at the end of the day, we're just extremely grateful. We're not going to look too deeply into it. There's always pros and cons to how everything in life, but at the end of the day, we're just extremely grateful to be surrounded with the 502 circle here, especially, and just the whole NIL world, especially.
Yeah, I would just say everybody in this locker room here, they just want to play basketball. We got goals of getting a national championship, ACC championship, and we're not looking for that right now. We're looking for the bigger picture, and we like I said, we want to win national championships. So.
Yeah, I mean, NIL, it's great for the players to be able to earn money, and it's always going to be pros and cons to everything. And I think what the coaches and the staff have done a really good job here is kind of making sure everyone's in it for the right reasons. We're not here for money. We're not here for any of that. We're here it's the best opportunity to make a run in the NCAA tournament, and we don't really want to lose focus in that.
For Javon and Chucky, Rain's used to the quirkiness. The first time you guys experienced it, what kind of went through your minds?
I honestly didn't know what to think. I was so serious. I didn't laugh. Like everybody was laughing. I was just like straight faced because I didn't know what to think. But it just kind of love to see that as a player. You can laugh a little bit, and when your coach is being like that, I gotta learn to laugh now. So it's gonna be funny.
Yeah, I would say it was definitely new to me. Just sort of finding that level of having fun, with your teammates and your coaching staff, but at the same time getting stuff done. I think he does. Coach Kelsey and his staff does like a great job of finding that middle ground, and I feel like it really has helped our team come together as a whole because we're joking with each other, laughing with each other, but then the next possession somebody gets dunked on, like where there's actually a middle ground that we're trying to find, and it's been pretty fun to find that.
This team has got a ton of veterans, but you have the one freshman, Anna Kanai. I'm just wondering, Pat said he's someone that acts like a veteran. Have you seen that from him? So far in workouts, I think it'd be tough, for like a first-year player to come in with a bunch of veterans and, guys who mentioned, that this is your last year. But, what have you seen from him so far?
Yeah, I would say in terms of Kanai, just simply being a freshman, I think we all are every freshman in the country has gone through it. No matter who you are, 5-star, 1-star, no star, you're going to go through trials and tribulations. You're going to go through it. Your body hurts. You're not used to the college weights, the college practices, the physicality. But Kanai has done a great job. His body is, up there with the best of them. He's not too worried about, the 5 stars and all that other stuff. Like Raina touched on a little bit earlier, everybody's here for the right reasons. But Kanai is taking leaps, and, we're going to need him for sure. So, grateful to have him and, sort of be those leaders to him and have him look up to us in that sense.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
All right,